Hello and welcome to Straight Dude Date Night, a show where two straight dudes go on a date and they review it. My name is David Stallings and I am one of these straight dudes.
And I am Ricky Rivera, the other straight dude.
We made it to episode 69. We've all been waiting for it.
Let's go.
This is it. We may as well end the show right here.
Celebration time.
Celebration.
Put a bunch of fireworks here.
It's the most important number on the internet. Everyone knows it. This is it. We did it. We're one of the few. We won one of the few.
Show's over.
The show's over.
69. We'll see
This
you guys
is it.
Never again.
Never. Now, for the finale, we saw the most relevant movie for that. And that's not a joke. We saw the perfect movie for our 69th episode. Napoleon. It's all intimacy and war. That's what 69 is about. That's what I've always perceived it to be.
Yeah, that was pretty good. We, you know?
What is that? What does that mean? What does that mean?
We did it. Episode 69.
What are you saying? What are you talking about now? We did it? I wasn't saying that.
We did it.
What?
We made it to episode 69.
Okay, yes. I don't know what this means. I don't know what this weird C is that you're doing.
He doesn't get it.
I don't get it.
Because, we made it.
All right.
No, it's not the finale, but it would have been a good way to end the show.
It could be.
We'll see. I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we'll see if there's an episode after this. Maybe there won't be. Yeah, we saw. There's a lot of movies out right now. There's Hunger Games. There's a Thanksgiving movie, but Thanksgiving passed. And then there's Napoleon.
Wish just came out too, but I actually do want to see Wish, but I thought we can't do that for 69.
No, that'll be weird.
It just can't be. Movie for episode. Has to be something else.
Yeah, it has to be anything else. I've actually been very excited about Napoleon, though.
Yeah, you have. Have been.
I think I've said it before on the show. I'm a huge history buff. Stuff around the French Revolution and with Napoleon in general, for some reason I have a lot of knowledge about, and I love that period of history.
It's fun.
I think it's one of the most bonkers times in history. I cannot believe this stuff is real. And they showed it in the movie, and I loved it. It was perfect.
Yeah, I don't know much about the French history, like the French Revolution. I mean, I remember learning about it in school, but that era of history is kind of just like, I think back in school, the names were just too complicated for me, and I was like, don't want to learn it. Teach me American history. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, easier names.
If I learn, and then it's like, they're like, go get into the dynasties of China, and I'm like, names are also hard to pronounce, but I'm in. This sounds way more exciting.
Bro, trying to learn Eastern world history, though, with all of the different dynasties and everything, I struggled so hard with that in school.
Yeah, no,
because it was all named. I had no idea what was going on through it. But you're right, it sounded dope.
Yeah, I really love American history though, so I feel you on that, and it was fun seeing something and learning more pieces of history, and I'll definitely learn more about the French Revolution at some point.
Well, my knowledge of the French Revolution in particular comes from, and I think a lot of people understand this, a lot of people like me, where it started with playing Assassin's Creed, which we just mentioned Assassin's Creed last week, but I got to bring it up again. There was Assassin's Creed Unity, which is an awful game, but the story, I loved it, and it prompted me to go look up afterwards a bunch of history about it, and then I became very enraptured by it, and I was shocked at how much of the game, like historical moments, were actually real. I think in particular, in that game, they also show, just as the movie does, the moment where Robespierre is killed, or he tries to kill himself, shoots himself in the face, in the cheek, and then he's still alive. And now the people who wanted to kill you now imprison you still, and you have a huge wound in your cheek. And then he gets guillotined the next day. It's like, I can't believe that moment exists, and that's not from a script.
Wow, I think I remember that actually from the game.
Yeah, in the game, he's running through a mansion. There's a mob, and you are also you're trying to kill him before the mob gets to him, I think, or get. I think that was the case. You're trying to get to him for some reason before the mob finds him. And when you break into the mansion, he freaks out, pulls out a gun, and shoots himself in the face, and then he's still alive.
And you got to go up like a big hill, right? Like to get up to the mansion.
It was through the city that you had to go through in the game. So I don't remember if there was a hill or not.
Maybe I'm remembering it slightly, but yeah, man, that was so silly.
I remember looking it up right after of like, is that real? And it is.
Amazing. What a flop. What a freaking flop.
What a failure. What a failure.
What an idiot.
We on Straight to Date Night, we hate Robespierre. This guy was a loser. He's an idiot. Dummy.
Yeah. That was a really good movie for me to be interested in wanting to learn more about French history. Because I don't know much. I'm not a very educated man outside of American history.
Well, you learned a lot today. And I'll go into the synopsis real quick in case our viewers and listeners are not well versed in.
If they're like me, you only know Napoleon to be short and cranky.
Yes.
And a crybaby.
Look, he's portrayed exactly that way in this movie still. So, the synopsis of the movie and of real life is that at the end of the 1700s, France decided to go crazy. They had their French Revolution, and it created just a world of chaos for France. During this, a officer in the French military, Napoleon Bonaparte, is trying to work his way up, and he shows himself to be an extremely well-versed tactician and war strategist, and manages to very easily take down his opponents with very innovative ideas in war. This leads him to begin ascending through the ranks, eventually meeting a prisoner that was released after Robespierre was killed, Josephine, who becomes his wife, and creates this intense love affair between them that is a driving factor for the rest of Napoleon's life, as Napoleon becomes the modern era's Alexander the Great and starts conquering a lot of Europe and parts of Africa and even considering Asia. And we see the rise of him becoming France's emperor, all the way to him being exiled and then eventually dying alone in St. Helena in Africa. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
That I know is a good synopsis because I know the history.
He dies alone. Crazy.
All of that, dude.
After all of that, getting exiled twice.
61 battles, and the way he dies is just naturally. I can't even fathom. I don't understand how anyone
exiled twice.
Yeah, I don't understand how anyone survives a single battle. When we see it like this,
especially back then. I mean, just losing thousands by the day. That's so insane.
Yeah, and.
Like, that's insane.
After so many people die, too, and even the Battle of Waterloo, they show him having a conversation with the Duke of England. I think it was the Duke of England, Duke of Wellington or whatever. And they're still like, it's by the grace of God that we have not killed you. We have so much respect for you, I guess, is the thing.
I think you're right. It is like a sign of respect because they're learning his tactics. Like, I think he taught them so much war tactics that it's like, dude, the only reason we can beat you is because we've seen you fight.
Yeah.
If we had never seen you fight so many times, we wouldn't know how to. We would have lost that fight.
That entire era of history, at least for because of the revolutions that were happening, was an extremely innovative time in war, because we had the same thing in the American Revolution that I'm sure you know about, of guerrilla warfare and everything.
Yeah.
We were, for some reason, we had very hospitable times in war and battles. And in America, we were like, no, we're fighting for our lives. We're going to do anything at all costs. And it was, I think Napoleon, at least showcased in the movie, was that Napoleon also was being innovative about it. It was like, no. I'm going to have this honorable attitude about it, but also we're going to change things up a bit. We're going to do a lot of ambushes. We're going to use the environment around us. No, we're not cordial about this. I'm here to win.
Yeah, why would we just do the traditional, you throw your army at my army and we see who wins? No, I'm going to win.
I'm here to never lose. That is the goal. God placed me on this earth, and I'm going to take over the world.
Isn't it crazy that there are just rules of war? dating back just so far in history, like think of just how messed up, how much more evil wars would become without rules.
Right.
Like that's just so wild to me, like that.
And then war happens and we're like, but people are breaking the rules, and it's
Hey,
like,
you
bro,
are more than welcome to break the
bro.
rules. You just made people mad.
It is such a it's such a I could go like hard into that, but I won't, because it is a wild concept that we live in a world that has that, which is good because it's deterred a lot more bad things in the world now. But it's just wild to me.
Just seeing any piece of history, like movies like this, where even like this, and I've been telling you I've been watching a lot of like World War II.
I don't know how you get into these shticks, dude.
I don't know. I'm so fascinated by it because I think war like that will just never happen again. I mean, obviously, like the French Revolution, war like that will literally never happen again.
Right.
We will never just throw one army at the other army in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
Like we will have to be post end of times for that to ever happen again.
Yeah, because I mean, even with like the war that just ended for us, we had a 20-year war with in the Middle East for America. Like, no, we didn't do that. We lost like a few thousand people over the course of that entire 2 decades.
Sucks.
Which sucks, but it is a testament to where we are now, especially as Americans, for America, where like we don't mess around. We know what we're doing. Also, you're not going to know we're there.
Yeah, it just, man, it is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just thinking about those kinds of things, like imagine being alive back then and just being like, oh, we're being invaded right now.
Yeah.
All right, honey, let's wrap this up.
It's over. All the good times are gone. I cannot. Every time I watch something like that, where it's just a huge battle with hundreds of thousands of people, and it's just they're walking straight to their deaths, I'm just like, how did these people manage to get into the mentality to do that? But I guess it was because it was life or death.
Yeah.
If they didn't do it, they were getting invaded. Like that was happening. But
yeah, it's just wild.
We just live in such an amazing time, I think. It's incredible that you and I can be baffled by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we live in a country where the idea of being invaded is unfathomable to us.
Yeah, no, there's so much preventative measures. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, man. But this whole time era is just so psycho to me. There's just so much going
That's
on.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like,
psycho is exactly what the era is. The French just went berserk.
yeah, they just said, like, you know what? We didn't like that guy. Bring in the next one. Let's make him... Forget king. Emperor.
Let's do it. You know what? We did this whole revolution so we could become democratic, like America's doing. We like that energy, and America's like, yeah, that's great. And then they're like, you know what? We're taking over the whole world.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it. Let's get the most egotistic man we can find and let him crown himself as emperor. Oh,
yeah, him crowning himself. That was such a turning point.
yeah.
Just so proper. So proper.
No one stopped him.
Yeah.
From doing it. He took the crown and was like, I found the crown. I cleaned it. I get to put it on.
Yeah, crazy. Just crazy times.
Now, I have to say this, though, about this movie. If anyone is considering to see this movie in theaters, which you should, you have to see it with Dolby.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about Dolby before. I don't know if there's like other experiences like that other theaters do.
Yeah, there's like IMAX. There's a couple in other states that they have different versions of Dolby.
Bro, whatever your Dolby experience thing is at the theater near you, you have to do it. This movie was made for that. All of the war in this movie was incredible because of it.
The cannons, they shoot the cannons off and you just feel the whole theater shake. You feel like you're there.
I
front lines.
The first battle happens and bro, I was gripping the chair very tight.
Yeah,
like
it was
it was great, but also a little fearful.
Yeah. Oh, and it's visually stunning too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they shot this movie, it's just there's so many good angles and shots and just.
Oh, dude, they didn't
put
hold
a lot of work into it.
They didn't hold back at all. You remember the cannonball going straight into the horse's chest?
No, it's
it
gory.
just exploded.
So
oh
gory.
My gosh,
it's awesome. It's very. it's it's very gory, but in like small doses, and I think that's what makes it so much more intense and helps add to the effect.
Yeah.
Because you're not seeing it 100 times, right?
Yeah.
Like you see, the last like 20 minutes is just all out war, and yet I don't think it was the goriest war scene I've seen in a movie.
No, it's like very brief moments where like you see a group of people get shot and they just fall over, but then like as we're showing a huge section of the battle, you can look at one spot, someone gets shot, and then like their entire section of their head like pops out.
Yeah.
Like just very brief iterations of it that you catch it and you're like, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, it's a war.
But it's very like sporadic in the way they do it that makes it so much more intense and looks so much better because you're not overwhelmed by the amount of gore on the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did the violence very well.
Mm-hmm.
Just the movie, it looks beautiful too. There's so many times.
Love the violence. Love the beauty. It's just a good
people falling into into a frozen lake. And you're just like,
dude, that scene was horrifying.
But man, it was so cool the way they were shooting it.
It was very cool. But I just again just trying to put yourself in the situation, and it's like this battle immediately lost. Also, not only did we lose, they're not going to take any of the guys prisoner, so there's no mercy there. Also, they're going to drown in a frozen lake. Oh my god!
And the score too is amazing. I'm actually not a big. I prefer when war scenes have no music because I think it just adds to the intensity. Mm-hmm. Because you get I like that feeling of just when you're in a war scene moment like that. There's not music playing.
Yeah.
Except for obviously like in this era, there's maybe like a drummer.
The drummer.
But this movie added just strings and all this stuff to just really add to his Empress mindset. And they scored it very well. Yeah,
that definitely elevated to showcase the glory to him of what was happening.
Yeah, you're right. It shows like how in his head, this is music actually playing in his head.
Every battle was a confirmation that he was ordained by God to ascend to something higher than emperor, which doesn't exist on Earth. Like that's, I think, what they were going for by adding this crazy music underneath. I loved the music. I thought it was awesome, but I think that is what I took from it, of why you would put music under a battle like that.
Yeah, because, it's so much more intense when there's no music because you're just thinking, this is just how it is.
Yeah.
In real battle. Mm-hmm. Not music playing. There's no fun little tune.
Other than the drummer boys, which I don't know how you get stuck with that job during a war zone.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Being drummer boy, that's the worst
The
job.
cannons are firing. You can't hear anything. People are literally covering their ears from how loud it is, and you're supposed to just continue drumming like that's helping. I don't know how that helps.
Nope. Not
if
worth
at all.
Not worth your time. Yeah, just all the battle scenes are just so good. Mm-hmm. They're done so well. I loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
Also,
but it's so long.
Dude, I didn't feel like it was terribly long. Maybe I'm being indoctrinated by how many 3-hour movies we've seen.
Yeah.
But I think this was the exact kind of movie that it was like
2.5 was fine.
I was like, that's perfect. That was perfect.
It's so I was telling you about this beforehand, but it's very weird because it's a 2.5-hour movie, and that honestly is always a deterrent, no matter the movie.
Yeah.
Even though we were excited for it, once I saw 2.5 before we walked into the theater, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be long. And I think some parts even felt kind of rushed, which is weird to say in a movie that long. I think that this could have been like a series, like a limited HBO series, like a 10-episode thing, maybe a couple hours long. I think the only problem with that is there's so much. I think they realized we'd get way too creative with the dialogue and getting into the talking aspects of it that it just would not work the same.
It would have been a lot of politics, I think, which we had a lot of politics in the movie, but the movie I felt like had a really good flow between we are now in politics and relationship stuff to back to war, back to war, back to politics. Like it felt good. It felt formulaic to me.
Yeah, putting it into a movie timeline, it helps add to how just intense and how crazy everything really was, and how sped up they had to move along with a lot of the dialogue and the narrative and whatnot. Because the show would have been really good in telling the stories, but I don't think it would portray the same in how crazy this man was.
Yeah.
You'd get tired of it eventually, like, oh my gosh, Joaquin Phoenix, I can only deal with you for so long.
Yeah, which by the way, for such a crazy character, they picked the perfect guy for this movie. Joaquin Phoenix, dude, I loved him so much in this.
I hope Joaquin Phoenix does therapy between every movie.
I hope he's okay.
I really do too, because that man is so good at playing a psychopath. And I know he's a method actor too. He gets as into it as he can. So it's like, I really hope that dude, when he's not making movies, is enjoying life.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for a long time now. So
Master of his craft.
He must have some kind of formula for it or routine of how he goes in and out. But bro, I could still see some of the Joker energy in him too, which was actually relevant to how they were portraying Napoleon, just the absolute arrogant narcissist ego that this man had. Required that same kind of energy. He was perfectly cast.
Yeah, he is so good, and it honestly gets me excited for the next Joker, the second one. I'm so excited.
Let's talk about the Joker. Let's talk about a different movie.
You mentioned it. It gets me so excited because I love seeing Joaquin Phoenix and things, man. He's just so... He gets so into his role. I don't think the casting for this movie is anything crazy. I mean, besides him and the actress,
Vanessa Kirby.
Yes, Vanessa Kirby.
She was in. Do you know? We've seen a movie with her.
Really? Which
yes. She is White Widow in Mission Impossible.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she killed it.
Yeah.
Those two are really the only actors needed. Because everything else, I can't think of any other character in this movie that was memorable.
Everyone else was kind of a rotating characters because they kept it was all different eras, and then it's not about them, so they would show up for a little bit for their part and then they're gone.
I loved that. I loved it because they really focused on just Napoleon and Josephine. And I loved it. And they did such a good job being truly the only two characters in the movie.
Yeah. The character development for both of them was awesome, I felt like. And I loved the progression. It was sad, but I loved the progression of their relationship and how much we got to see. The movie could have been shorter, but in order to do that, I think they would have cut more of the relationship stuff. And I've actually loved the relationship stuff a lot because it was so relevant to showing how crazy both of these people were.
Yeah, there is a lot of scenes that could have been shortened, you know, and them just talking to each other and them just being so crazy.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think it does add a lot of element to... I don't think this movie was meant to tell you all the politics of the French Revolution. I think it was meant to show you how crazy Napoleon was as a person.
Yeah. And
they executed on that perfectly.
Yeah. So
if you're going into this movie wanting an explanation on all of the French Revolution, it's not going to happen because, you know, there's so much more than just this.
Yeah. I mean... They could have cut out more of the sex. There's a lot of sex. A lot of very quick moments of sex.
Very fitting for episode 69.
Yes. Very quick fits of sex kept happening. They could have cut that, but also kind of amped up the movie.
Kind of just made him look more crazy.
He looked more insane because of it.
It was nuts.
Everything for this man was about when do I get to go back and have sex with Josephine. That was the drive, at least portrayed by the movie. Passionate. That's the entire goal for this guy, is to get home to do that.
It's crazy to me to see just the way they in that time era, how people were treated and how quick it was to just be like, you know what, execute this man, kill him. Like how brutal everybody was, but yet how passionate people were about their lovers. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? It's so polar opposites. You know what I mean? We're willing to conquer the entire world, but God, I love this woman. I would literally leave my army for her. You know what was funny? There was something that early on in the movie that really caught my attention that I don't know if they meant to do or not, but would you agree that they tried to portray Napoleon as kind of a socially awkward person? Yeah. Outside of when he was not in his element as a military master, in normal life, he was very weird.
right?
I think he's just so weird. He's not a social person. He's not a human.
So when the second in command came to him and told him that Josephine had taken a lover, he then questioned the person more and was like, how do you know? And he's like, well, I learned from my lover, who is Josephine's handmaiden. And there was something about how they showed Joaquin or Napoleon reacting where there was something of like, everyone seems to have a lover except me.
Yeah.
Like there was something about it of like, not only is my wife with another person, every single person I know has a lover and I do not. There was just a brief moment where I felt like I saw that, and that hit. That really upped to me who Napoleon was.
Yeah.
He is a superb military expert who does not get to have just normal quote normal relationship stuff like everyone else. He's not sought after by anyone.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is he wanted to be sought after.
Yeah.
Like he desperately wanted to be sought after and wanted and needed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he kind of wanted that back.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to also be, he just wanted to be so passionately in love with somebody. I think too, he just needed somebody to appreciate what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many people who are like, we appreciate what you're doing, but people definitely do not approve of you.
Yeah.
Like you are a psycho, but like, hey, we cool with it. We're a lot of gain for us.
Yeah. Well,
you're a psycho.
Yeah. I guess just keep going. Just do your thing. Like, but like, you kind of crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, and you could see it with the leathers, with all the voiceovers that they did. Cause I have a feeling that they took the voiceovers directly from letters that they read that Napoleon sent Josephine and vice versa. That he, at least in the beginning of the movie, his letters were like, why are you not writing me? I write you every day. Why are you not writing me? What's going on?
Do you not love me?
Do you not love me?
Write to me twice a day.
Please tell me. This is what they said. Please tell me there's not a snake between your legs. Yes, this is the late 1700s. You guys talk like this.
Do
Yes.
you think any of those letters were actual letters that happened back then?
Yeah.
Do you think there had to have been, right?
Mm-hmm. Because after, and I think they said this towards the end of the movie, that all of the letters were sold by Josephine's family, like immediately after she died.
Wow.
And he cried over it. And I think there was a part of me with that too. Maybe again, I was reading too much into his character, but I really loved it. I felt like he was also crying over the reputation that he knew just got destroyed, of like, this great and powerful man is like huge simp.
Big old softy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Constantly insecure and worried. I think he said at some point too, he's like, I don't have insecurity.
Yeah.
But these show I do.
It shows a weakness, and I think on the other end of it in his personal life is it's like, I just poured everything out into these.
Mm-hmm.
They just got sold.
Yep.
Like it was a freaking like loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I just put so much love into this
over years,
and nothing.
Yeah.
It's just how it happens.
That has to be, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the voiceovers they were doing, they had to, if not all from one letter in particular for each one, they probably were piecemealed together. I would not be surprised if that
loosely based.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if some of those weirder lines were actually said.
Had to have been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that had to be, because there's so many things that they were trying to portray as accurate as they can. So I'm assuming that those were that way too.
Yeah. Oh man, I loved this movie, bro. This was exactly the kind of movie I love.
Yeah, that was intense. There was a lot going on for sure. I mean, there's three real elements that we're following.
Mm-hmm.
Between him and his love with Josephine is for sure the most important, because it kind of dictates everything in his life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the stronger the love, the more successful, more locked in he was. And as it dwindled, you see him just making such critical errors.
Yeah.
There's the whole element of the politics of, and then wanting to take over the world. And then there's just him just being crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Imagine, you said this to me after we left the theater about imagine if he hadn't invaded Russia.
Dude, if he literally listened to anyone and just said, all right, we took Moscow. Let's be patient. Let's wait out winter. We know that we have more than them. We will wait it out. If he did that, the world now would be a much different place. Because they had, at least from my understanding about it, they had the advantage. They just had to not go into Russia during winter, which is crazy to me because 100 years later, that same thing happened during World War II. Did you know that?
No.
Bro, Germany did that against Russia in World War II.
Oh, yeah.
They went in.
They went in winter, and it's like...
Yeah, and then lost a ton of people during it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know that the fighting during that was far more intense than what happened for Napoleon, but it's 100 years later, the same thing happened.
Yeah,
it's like,
no,
bro...
I know exactly what you're talking about now. It's... Yeah,
why are people going into Russia during the winter? It's negative 100 degrees there. You're all going to die. None of you are accustomed to this.
Russia has one advantage over everything else. It's the elements.
Their country is massive, and that is because 90% of it is made of ice. That is why.
Hey, maybe there's just... I think it's just the psychopathic way. I mean, the comparison between the two wars you just talked about, I think... is their leaders were just psycho.
Yeah.
And they thought, you know what? I'm such a crazy guy. You know what they wouldn't expect is if we went in during winter.
Yeah.
Because obviously nobody's going to attack Russia during winter.
Mm-hmm.
They have such an advantage.
Yeah.
That's why we take the advantage.
Well, I also think from talking about both of those wars that both of those leaders also believed that there was some kind of divine presence over them. That they were untouchable, that anything they did was going to work because they were the greatest there's ever been.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, God is gonna take care of this through this. And I think that's what the movie showed too, as we talk about even just through the music, that every win continued to glorify Napoleon to further prove to him that I can't make a mistake. I'm just perfect.
I'm perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it really did make it seem like that. And anytime he was on the downfall, the music tone shifted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he's having big victories, it's angelic harmony singing, and then it gets to that deeper, just he starts losing.
Yeah. Oh man, dude.
They did a lot to make this movie entertaining in other ways, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I really do think that maybe it could have been written a little bit better in like the terms of just putting the three storylines together to where it's like, let's just streamline some of this. Because there's some times where I was just like, I don't know what they're saying because the accents are so thick.
That is true.
And they're talking, we hard cut so many times. I'm just trying to follow what's happening.
Yeah.
And this is just the style of it. And I mean, we should just be grateful that everybody was speaking English.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
We should be grateful that everybody's speaking English in this movie.
The French people, all of those actors, there was zero attempt at like French accents.
Oh yeah, no. Joaquin Phoenix just said, "I'm not doing a French accent.
No, it's
I'm just gonna talk."
Yeah, we are French in this world. They talk like me, so deal with it.
Yeah.
They talk like me. The Russian people, though, all of the Russians, they have accents.
And they sounded more French than Russian.
Yes.
Or like British. Like
Yeah.
their accents were crazy. They sounded way more British or French than Russian.
Yeah, the guy who was playing Tsar Alexander the First, I think that was who that was.
Yeah.
The Tsar. He did not sound Russian.
I didn't think he was Russian either. I thought he was the British guy.
Oh, okay.
The whole time. I was just like, I know that we said that he's the Russian leader, but he does not sound Russian.
Yeah.
Nor look Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just looks like he just wobbled over on a cup of tea, like
Yeah.
with the cup of tea.
No,
Just, it was crazy.
No, that's how. I mean, yeah.
Just like we said, the acting outside of Joaquin and Kirby is not really there.
I mean, they're not really doing
Doesn't
anything.
need It's not about them.
All the other actors are either soldiers who are either dying in the cold or they're just rushing into a battle. Or they're all politicians who are also still fighting each other because that was the times.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, you know?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes is Napoleon when he's in the courthouse and they're all saying like, no, kill this man, get him. And he comes running out and he tells the army, he's like, they're trying to kill me. And his brother's like, I will kill my brother if he's like, I don't know. Go along with it. Yeah, get back in there.
I will kill my brother if he does anything to betray France, I think is what he says. He goes, I don't know, maybe that'll work. And then the army is like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll trust him, yeah.
Amazing, bro. Amazing. That dude has such a command over the army. And it must have just been because of the way he thought. Like, his whole mindset is all war-based. And that, I mean, obviously it's going to amp up any army.
Well, I think also the situation happened to be that he was, because he was not really a politician, but his entire background was that he was actually one of these people in the army, that the people in the military continued to sympathize with him and were like, he's one of us. That's why after he comes back from his first exile and he talks to the army that's meant to stop him, he's like, you are my brothers. I'm here for France. I love this country. Help me take back and bring this country to its former glory. And they're like, yeah, you know what? He's got a good point. This is my dog. This is my boy.
My boy.
Let's do it.
And these guys are just fighting. There's such a difference in, like, yo, we're fighting, like, the politicians, we're fighting to make sure that our country is great. You're fighting for the glory of France. But, like, what glory without a city that is any way, justified? Like,
Yeah.
we don't, cool that you took Egypt, but we don't need France to extend to Egypt.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that during the movie. I'm like, dude, what do you do when you conquer the world? Like, what do you do then? Because resources dwindle. You just killed a lot of people. Yeah. You really think a lot of these people are going to conform. Like, you're not going to take over the world and everybody conforms. What do you do when you take over the world?
Let me tell you, okay, because I know exactly what happens, as I've played a lot of Crusader Kings 3. Okay, let me tell you, I have taken over, not the world, but I've taken over significant portions of it before. What really starts to happen, and this is fact, is that war just continues happening because a bunch of factions of people just continue getting mad and they continue rising up, even though you have 100,000 soldiers. This has happened to me. 100,000 soldiers, and they go, I have 10,000. We should get together. Us and the boys will come together to try and take down Mr. Stallings, and they come together and I have to put them down, and the war just never stops. You continue having to put down revolution after revolution constantly. But that is my personal experience with when I've conquered the world. And it's a draining process. So the war, the fighting, it would just never stop.
It never stops. Yeah, no, I get it. It's really how it is.
I basically, things started to get more peaceful after I finished killing almost everyone in the world. Then things got more peaceful.
After you Thanos to the world.
Yeah.
Then it was like, hey, we're all chill, right?
Yeah, bro.
We're all cool.
That's one of my favorite games. But I have to tell you this. That game is so hard.
That's so cool.
There's like world events that happen, and the two major ones are that the Crusades will happen, and so that will start to be a huge war going on. But then also at some point the Mongolian Empire will begin their conquest to take over the world. And usually if you're in the region for that, it's basically game over because they have 1 million people. Yeah. But I had one playthrough where I had amassed such an empire that I actually had enough soldiers that was comparable to the Mongolian Empire, and I had to take them on one-on-one. And it's my one of my favorite moments in gaming I've ever had was being able to beat all of them. I know, bro. I had to share that because I love that game.
I've never played the game, but I'm gonna look it up now once I get home.
Dude, I'll stream it.
Yeah, please. Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, that'll be another stream of mine that I do.
See, the only thing closest to a war game I've played is Halo Wars.
Oh,
I've done that. I've conquered the rings, the 7 rings.
Of course.
The Halos. So I've done that.
Yeah, that's good. That's important. That's some world-ending stuff. If you
somebody's
don't do that,
got to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to bring peace to the covenant.
Yeah. So what happens? What happened in your experience when you conquered the world? Then conquered everything because you're an emperor as well.
You kind of just chill out. You just take off your helmet and you say, Cortana, we good now.
Yeah.
And then you just freeze, you just freeze yourself and just wait till you land somewhere, I guess.
Okay. Just wait for the next war.
Yep, just wait for the next one.
Okay, cool. All right.
They need me.
Yeah.
Chief, we thought you were dead. No, I'm back.
No, I showed up at the right time, right place.
Just frozen. We good. I'm back.
Yeah. Well, your world conquering sounds way different than mine. Mine was just constant fighting.
I've conquered the world in Plague Inc., where I was a plague. And you're trying to eliminate the world. I've done that.
The most morbid game ever created, bro.
I mean, I know how to play it. I could do that.
Yeah. Look, I have that game too.
Yeah, it's just pretty fun.
Yeah,
it's pretty. You're right. It is very morbid. I guess I've never seen it that way. That's probably not a good thing.
I remember talking to someone about that game right as COVID started, and they were like, "Wow, that sounds like a horrifying game." And I'm like, I thought about it. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it kind of is.
Yeah,
as we're experiencing.
I remember playing Plague Inc. back in like 2015.
Yeah,
on mobile with all my coworkers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I could think of in 2020 was like, dude, we were just like pretending this.
Yeah,
chill out,
bro. I have to tell you this.
We gotta get the testing going, otherwise it's just gonna keep spreading.
Right. And you as the plague are like, no.
Yeah,
don't want this. Backtrack. Don't want that, dude. When I remember reading about this when COVID started too, because of the Plague Inc. thing, I started playing that for some reason. But then I remember reading an article about an accidental simulation of like human response to a pandemic via World of Warcraft. Do you know about this at all?
What is it? It's a human pandemic via World of Warcraft?
It's how humans react to a pandemic happening. And this took place in World of Warcraft, and there was like a Halloween event. This was like early 2000s, I think this happened. There was a Halloween event where something happened that you could become like a zombie, but this illness was supposed to pass after the Halloween event happened. But there was a bug with the game where it didn't, and they could infect one another, and now you had people in the game freaking out because you would lose I think you would lose a bunch of stuff or something like that if you got infected. And now it was just continuing for a while, for several weeks.
Whoa.
And people were grouping together trying to stay away from the zombies.
Wow.
And trying to survive the quote pandemic happening in the game. And I read about it. I'm like, how is this our comparison right now?
I don't remember that. That is crazy. I've never heard of that before.
That is our modern comparison of a pandemic prior to COVID, dude.
Wow. That is crazy, actually. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. What a time, huh?
I never played it.
I played it every now and again, but it was rare.
I watched a couple of like YouTube series that people did, like little fun ones.
Yeah.
And they were like a few episodes long, and that's it. That's my only experience with World of Warcraft.
If I had a computer, like a decent computer back then, I would have definitely been into it.
Yeah.
Because I was super into RuneScape for the longest time.
Oh, RuneScape.
And anytime the only times I'd ever play World of Warcraft is if I went over to a friend's house and they had it, and I would play it, and I was like, dude, this game is great. But like, I know my computer can't run it because it can't run games like this.
Yeah.
I just need the internet.
Yeah.
So I would have been super into it, and I've wanted to get into it, but I'm just way too late.
Yeah.
I'm way too late to the trend. It's just
no.
like,
I think there's still more content for it, but you can get addicted
to it.
Trust
me, I have friends now that play it.
You can get addicted to it right now.
I can't. I don't have the time, dude.
It can happen. You can go home and do it immediately.
I've heard of people who invest their time into World of Warcraft, and it is an investment. I mean, but I honestly would get into it if I had the time to do it, and the people who would be willing to start me up. I'd be so into it. No, love that kind of game.
That sounds awful to me. My only experience with games like that was RuneScape, and even when I was a kid, I was like, "This is not." I was never into it.
I could do the grind. The grind is fine with me, dude. RuneScape, I was the guy that was mining wood and. Chopping wood. I was chopping trees and mining ore. And I would grind that out for hours with my buddy just so we could sell and trade with other people.
Yeah.
And then we'd go play the game.
Yeah. I remember Colton trying to teach me the game, and we were legit like 7 or 8. And he's trying to teach me it. I make an account, and he's like, okay, so here's a good tree chopping place. You're going to come here. You're going to get the wood. You're going to deposit it. And then you're going to go to this place after. And you're going to start mining ore. And then you're going to go deposit it. And then you're going to go back and chop trees. And then you're going to deposit it. And then go back to mining. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
He's like, this is what you do. If you want to be good at the game, you have to do this.
You gotta
and it's
do
like,
this constantly.
bro, this sounds like chores. I don't want to do this.
My buddies and I, we'd hang out, and so we had 2 computers at his house, and so we'd get like 3 or 4 of us would hang out, and we'd have 2 accounts running at the same time, and we'd all rotate and just constantly like making sure that somebody was mining.
Yeah.
Because you could like click the ore and like let it mine for a little bit, and then you come back like a minute later, click it again, and just let it mine another stack. So we did that, and we'd all rotate for hours. It'd be like 3 a.m. It would be like, all right, everybody, you all got your accounts boosted. We good? All right, tomorrow we grind, boys. Everybody go home and let's grind it out.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Typing in the chat. I can't believe that too. We were chat typers, bro.
Oh my gosh,
Could you
bro.
imagine that? Like going back to that? I couldn't.
No, it couldn't be me. I couldn't do that. I mean, I have friends now who are still, as adults, playing RuneScape periodically. And I still have this campaign. I have a Dungeons and Dragons campaign with a few friends of ours, and one player in particular, for straight up a year straight, he would always bring his laptop because he was kind of ADHD and always there's downtime during D&D where I'm focusing on someone else for a moment, and he would just have RuneScape up on the laptop, and he would just be doing agility training, which is actually very intense, but doing agility training while we're playing D&D.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you do this. And he's like, it helps me actually focus on D&D still. I'm like, I can't.
Honestly, that sounds like a great idea. I would have definitely done that.
Yeah.
If I had a laptop and when we were playing D&D, I would have definitely done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was always playing some sort of game on my phone. It helps me concentrate too.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm the same way.
Yeah. No, it definitely gave me Ricky vibes during it.
Yeah.
Every time I would do it.
So smart. I mean, that's how I concentrate in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah.
Just playing, that's what Colton does too. He plays balloons.
Yeah, he does play balloons. Yeah, he's a god at that game, bro.
Yeah. Wow. We saw a movie.
We saw the movie.
I saw a comment on YouTube a while ago. I'm not gonna say what episode, but somebody was like, "Oh, great review, boys!" Like they were trying. I could tell they were just trying to self-promote their channel and didn't actually watch our video.
I don't know about that. I know what comment you're talking about.
That whole episode, we just talked about anything but the movie.
I thought it was sweet.
It was a sweet comment, but I was like, I don't know how genuine. I hope it's genuine to you, sir. If you're still watching, I love you.
I did not get that vibe from this individual. I thought for sure, I was like, bro, that's so sweet. Good for this guy who also is kind of doing this stuff. Like,
I loved it.
It was great.
His videos too. It was cool.
It was not self-promotion. I was like, oh, someone commented on the video. Oh,
I just thought to myself, I was like, dude, we didn't talk about that movie at all.
All of these, I was just, dude, at Thanksgiving, my uncle and my dad, they listened to our show, which is so sweet. Thank you both. And they were talking about, or I think my aunt was talking about that she can't listen to the podcast because we do spoilers, and both of them immediately were like, they don't even talk about the movies. They don't even talk about it.
It's kind of just like a good theming to just
it's
on a podcast.
It's a good starting point. Beginning of every episode we talk about it, and then we talk about anything else. And I like that. I like that formula. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, without movies, I'm fine with just talking. But it's a good path.
It's a good reason. It's a good reason for us to hang out. That is the whole goal of the show. I don't care. This is fine. Well, if the movies are bad, you can tell if we don't care at all about the movie because we will just start trying to talk about anything else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We talked about this movie was great.
Yeah,
but it's kind of not much to say because it was such a solid.
No, we had like 30 minutes of content talking about the movie before going into
history talk.
MMO and RuneScape and all that.
That's true. This movie, look,
we saw the fine. We saw the movie.
Napoleon Dynamite Part 2. We watched that today. I think it's a cinematic experience. Even though it's 2.5 hours long, and that's a big deterrent to go to the theaters nowadays, I still think you should see it in the theaters.
Yes.
It will still. It's gonna be more enjoyable when you watch it again on Netflix in a couple months, and you're like, you can pause it and take a break.
Yeah.
But I think seeing it in theaters will definitely be worth your time.
The theater experience for this movie was just incredible to me.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been. There's no way it would have had the same impact watching it via streaming at home. There's just some of the movies actually do a great job of being worth it to go see it in a theater.
Which is crazy. We didn't even bring this up. It's an Apple Studios movie.
Yeah.
So it will be streaming.
Yeah.
Soon. It'll be back on Apple. It kind of makes me want to go look at what else Apple's producing out there, because
I mean,
after Killers of the Flower Moon, I was definitely like, it's all just long, boring content. But
Yeah.
This one was like, it's long, but some good content.
Yeah, long, really good content. I had the same thought of like, wow, if Apple is pumping this out, I could be down.
The only other thing I know Apple makes, like shows, is that freaking Blind movie. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's I think it's Jason Momoa, and they're just like, the world is blind, like the entire world, everybody's blind, but they're still existing and like fighting and stuff. I really don't know much else beyond that from just the trailer I've seen.
I have no idea.
Dude,
there's absolutely nothing in my brain that could help me with what
I'll
you're
show
talking
you the
about.
trailer for it, and after watching it, I was like, I kind of don't have interest in that. It doesn't look very good. Like, what do you mean? They're all like, everybody's blind, and the world is just existing, and we're fighting still. Like, I don't know. It was weird. I'll have to show you the trailer and see if you get the similar vibe of like, that just seems like it's cinematically beautiful.
Yeah.
Because that's what Apple always is trying to go for, you know?
Yeah.
Even with their phones. They're just trying to make a good cinematic piece, you know? They don't
Yeah.
care about anything else.
Yeah.
It's all about the vibes.
I mean, the only thing from Apple TV that I've been made aware of, I'm pretty sure this is Apple TV, otherwise I'm going to look like a fool, is the show Severance with Ben from Parks and Rec.
Severance, yeah.
It's like,
oh, dude,
I've heard
yes.
that it's interesting.
I've heard it's amazing, and I want to see it. I don't have Apple TV.
Neither do I.
I've listened to the playlist 100 times.
Really?
It's so good.
Okay, all right.
I mean, the playlist itself is good, but I love jazz, and it's experimental jazz, and I loved it.
Okay.
I listen to the playlist all the time.
I had no idea.
Never seen the show.
I had no idea jazz was involved. All I know is there's a photo. The thumbnail of the TV show is Ben from Parks and Rec, and that's it. That's all I know. And then people have been like, but it's a good show, and I'm like, great, cool.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. I mean, I don't know how the music can give me any inkling of how the show is, but I like the playlist on Apple Music of Severance is pretty good. I have saved a bunch of songs from that playlist.
I mean, you can't trust a soundtrack for a movie that much, because I remember that with Babylon, and I still have music from Babylon in my liked songs playlist on Spotify, but the movie it does not add up for me. So
we could go into Babylon another time. I've rewatched it again, and
you rewatched that movie?
Yeah, I got a lot.
When did you rewatch it?
Probably a little around the time we did the tier list.
You watched it back in July?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh yeah, I rewatched it. That's actually, I don't know. I kind of liked it.
It hit you different?
Kind of hit different. I kind of like it.
Dude, there's no movie we've talked about more on this show than Babylon.
I know. That's just why I rewatched it.
Maybe
that's why I rewatched it. It's on Paramount.
Maybe beginning of every year we do that movie.
We just rewatch Babylon, and we're just like, is it actually good?
Is it a good movie?
I don't know. I enjoyed it more watching it again, but I still was kind of like, is this good though? Am I liking this?
I can't believe you watched the whole thing again.
Yeah.
The start of the 3-hour movie year. The majority of the movies we've seen have felt like 3 hours long. That was the first one of the year.
Hey, I'll get back to. I mean, I rewatch some of these movies that we do. I like to see it again from a different perspective of not trying to make content around it.
You truly
enjoy it.
You truly are such a saint with the movies, because I almost all of these I'm like, I think the only one I've gone and rewatched was Mission Impossible, because I went to see it with my family after watching it for the show. But
I watched a good amount of these.
All of these I'm like, all right, cool. That exists. Very good. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, I've rewatched a good amount. I mean, even Babylon, like, I just watched it by myself. I just was, like, up one night just watching it.
I can't believe you. I mean, it was the most conflicting movie we have ever seen, so.
Look, I'm up late with the baby, so I'm usually just sitting there. Like sometimes I'll have to hold him. I'll just hold him to sleep, and I'm just like, he's never gonna be this small again. I'll just cuddle up with him.
Does he?
So I'll hold him for like an hour and a half, just rocking him, and I'll just watch a movie like while I'm doing it.
What did your son think of the movie?
He was asleep, so I mean, I guess.
So he liked it?
Not, I mean, he was asleep. He didn't hear it. I have a headphone in.
He didn't get to hear the song?
No, heck no, bro. I don't want to wake him up,
bro.
He's asleep. You gotta take the bed.
Bro, we got it.
Headphone in. I'm in the rocking.
I know he can't see the movie, but when he can appreciate music, you have to show him the song. And
he
be
would
like, what do you think about this song, son?
He would love the song. He loves songs and movies.
You just can't tell him the name of the song.
Yeah, it's true.
Can't ever tell him that it's called Coke Room until he's like 15.
Yeah, no, he loves it. I just showed him the movie he gets his name from. It's called Guava Island. It's on Prime Video.
Okay.
And it's where I got his name. And this last weekend I watched it. I was watching it over Thanksgiving. And I was like, you know what? It's time you learn where your name's from, bud. You're not going to understand what's going on, but you'll like it. But there's a lot of music in the movie because it's technically like a movie. It's one of those weird like it's called Guava Island. It's produced by Childish Gambino.
Okay.
But it's mostly just a way.
Sorry, we're hearing other content at the moment through the door, which the audience cannot hear.
David has roommates.
I have a roommate now. Don't worry about it.
It's like Childish Gambino. It's one of those like hour-long like music video things. We just put some of his songs together and made a movie out of it.
Yeah.
But I let him watch it with me, and he was enthralled by the music.
Oh, yeah?
He loved it. He seriously, I have a picture. I'll show it to you later, but there's a picture of him just laying on the couch and his head on my lap, and he's just like leaned back watching it like, wow, this is good. And then when the music would come on, he'd move his hand, he'd like vibing to it.
Wow, Dad, you have good music taste. Yeah. And as a father, you're like, this is everything I wanted. Yes, someone to validate me.
I'm valid, yeah.
All right, we should rate this movie.
All right, you want me to go get the banana meter, boys?
Bring it in.
We're bringing the minions.
Bring them in. You can't see them.
Here. They're gonna melt.
We've talked about it before.
That one has a sword. Look, he's like waving it up in front of him. He's
wow.
Like,
a bunch in the back. Oh my gosh.
The other one. Okay.
Dude, on my carpets again, bro.
Okay, this is getting violent, guys.
Yeah.
Somebody exile him.
Oh my gosh, that other minion's pulling out a musket?
Oh, this could get crazy.
This is gonna get crazy.
Everybody calm down.
Calm down.
Back in the closet, resolve it in there.
Just leave the banana meter out here. Get the stuff for cleaning up the blood. It'll be fine.
Whew.
Man, I hate these guys so much now.
Suck.
Dude, I hate the minions so much.
All right.
Oh.
You love this movie, so why don't you start it off?
Okay. Bro, to me, there was nothing wrong with this movie. I loved this movie so much. People might complain about runtime. That seems like an inevitable thing.
Always.
I mean, we complained a little bit about it too. For me personally, the movie went so fast. I loved it. I loved everything about showing the relationship. I loved the politics, and I loved the actual history and war behind it. Seeing it in Dolby elevated this movie to a new level for me as well, because the battles were insane, and I recommend to everyone, if you want to see this movie, go see it in theaters now. It is so worth it. It was so fun. I was blown away by it. So for me, this movie is 100. I loved this movie so much. And that's it. It's 100 for me. Done.
Yeah, that's good. For me, I really enjoyed it. I was here more so. David was here for just all of the history that he knows going into it. I was just here for the war.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good war scenes in there. That was a lot of fun. I could have done less with some of the lovey scenes, and so for that, it hinders me just a little bit more. I mean, it's my least favorite thing in Star Wars, and I know it's a weird comparison, but like Episode 2 is my least favorite movie because half the movie is just a love story.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, but there's so many other cool things we could be doing.
Mm.
So when I know the progression of diving into the love story into this movie is very needed to show how psychopath this man is.
Yeah.
How much of a psychopath he is.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, just cut like a minute from the beginning and a minute at the end, and let's get back to it. Let's just get back to the grind.
Right.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I have a hard time rating it because I don't think it's 100 for me, but it's so close.
Or it could be less. You don't have to be close to me.
I know.
Right?
I'm gonna give it like a 95.
Okay.
Because I think for me, it like for it to be perfect for me, I just needed a little bit more of like seeing his tactics used.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed, because that's all I know about Napoleon, is that his war tactics were crazy.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to seen more of it. We actually didn't even get to see any of him prepping soldiers in his tactics until the very end of the movie, and I would have loved to have seen some of that.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed seeing his brain process going through, like, how do I strategize this war? Like, I would have loved to see them assemble that whole fight on the lake of him prepping that. That'd have been so cool to see. That's only for me though. I mean, personally, that I enjoyed those things more than I enjoyed the politics and the lovey stuff. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I guess that happens when you have 3 storylines going at once.
Yeah, and I mean, a 100 is also a pretty subjective thing. Like, did it hit all of the right things for you in particular, right? Because like we rate movies 90, and it's like what didn't make it 100? Then it's just like personal preference, like. Might be 100 for someone else, and that's okay.
That's what this is. This is 100 for you. If you enjoy the French Revolution and this kind of thing,
no one enjoyed the French Revolution. It was a terrible time. Don't act like I enjoyed it. Sorry. It was a horrible time.
If you enjoy this piece of history and learning about it, like,
if you enjoy chaos, if you enjoy the chaos,
if you know it, you're gonna have a really great time. I personally did not know it going into this. I only know very little bit, so I had a good time. But I think yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I think, Joaquin Phoenix is crazy.
He's an insane individual, bro.
Crazy man.
Yeah.
All the other actors, who cares? They all or whatever.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's it. That's Napoleon, and that's 69 episodes of Straight Dude Date Night.
Oh, I changed my rating. It's
huge.
69.
Huge. Oh, there it is. Dunzo. Huge difference.
It's a 69 for me. I gotta rate it 69 for 69. I change it now.
This is smart. It's
realistically like a 95, but actually, it's 69.
It's a 69.
Sorry, David.
That's okay. I don't care. It's still a 100
In fact,
for me.
whatever the rating is to make it lower, to make the average 69 is what I rate it.
Okay, very smart.
I don't want to do the math right now, but like that, whatever that number is, that's my rating.
All right. Agree to disagree. Thank you so much for listening to Straight Dude Date Night. We do hope you enjoy. As always, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe and comment on the YouTube video if you haven't already. If you're listening on Spotify or as Apple Podcasts or whatever, leave a review if you haven't. It really helps the show. Tell a friend about the show. Follow us on social media, on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all that. And that's it.
Is it 38? Is that the rating I'd have to give it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 38.
No, I don't think it's. Is it? I don't know actually. What would it be?
No, it wouldn't be 30.
Wow, I'm so dumb.
Is it
28?
No, because that
38. Final answer.
You just said 38.
If I rated it 38 and you rated 100, we'll be like really close to 69. It's close enough.
Is that it? You tell us.
I didn't go to college. One of us went to college. Can you figure out who it is?
Couldn't be me. Bye-bye.
69!